Google has admitted quite extensively, actually, to being openly pressured by the Biden administration to censor conservatives. Now, we all knew this, right? Like this is one of those. This is like, oh, it turns out it wasn't a bat flu from a wet market, or it turns out the vaccine doesn't actually work. Like we all knew this, but it was all the, oh well, we can't say it out loud thing. Now we have the direct proof from Representative Jim Jordan. He says, due to oversight efforts, Google commits to offer all creators previously kicked off YouTube for political speech violations return to the platform. But that's not all. YouTube also admits that the Biden administration censorship pressure was unacceptable and wrong, confirms that the Biden administration wanted Americans censored for speech that did not violate YouTube's policies, details when YouTube began rolling back its censorship policies on political speech, states that the public debate should never come at the expense of relying on authorities, promises to never use third-party fact checkers, warns that European censorship laws target American companies and threaten American speech. So we have an open admission from, I think, the largest video platform in the world, one that certainly every young person is completely addicted to and watches pretty much exclusively instead of television. And it admits that outright it has been banning and demonetizing and censoring entirely at the behest of the federal government, by the Biden administration. And this has to have resulted in one of the largest destructions of information available. Now, Jay Burton and I were talking about this beforehand. We tend to not like to do these stories because it feels a little bit like inside baseball. Like, obviously, we're two people who earn our living, at least in part, on YouTube. So it matters to us whether or not you can monetize videos on YouTube. But there is a larger principle here, not just us going, oh, whoa, is the influencer. What we're saying is that this information is being censored in real time. And by making sure that you demonetize or completely remove these people from the internet, you are ensuring that entire generations of people do not get this information, that they are completely cut off from the truth. They're completely cut off from what's going on. They have no idea about what's actually happening. And this is happening in real time under complete government compulsion. So when it's, oh, what if the FCC points out that you're violating the law? Oh, what if the Biden administration directly went to the video platform and said, take it off or else? And then they did. Like, I don't know about you, but I can't imagine there isn't a, $100, if not, $100 million class action lawsuit at minimum available to YouTube creators who lost their entire livelihood over the Biden administration directly ordering censorship and YouTube choosing to comply. To be clear, YouTube is not a victim here. They wanted to do this. That's why they did it. The Biden administration telling them to do it is just an excuse. They wanted to do this. That's why it happened. There are plenty of cases where the government tells, different companies like Apple to do something and then just say, no, piss off. That's not what YouTube did here. They could have done that. They could have fought the battle. They didn't. They wanted to remove these creators. The Biden administration told them to. They gave them a nice reason to do so. And that's why we ended up here.
Yeah, so several things there. One, again, when we speak about incentives, this is creating a massive cultural incentive, which is if you are on the left wing, you can make quite a lot of money by making left-wing propaganda. Some of the biggest streamers in the world are lefty propaganda machines, and they are incredibly wealthy. Whereas if you were interested in right-wing ideas, one, it's an uphill battle, but two, you're not doing it for the money. Auron, you and I followed a similar path where when we started out, one, weren't making a lot of money at all. And two, it was incredibly dangerous. If we were found out, we'd lose our jobs, our real jobs at least. And so that's massively stacking the deck again, because like many people, I got more interested in right-wing politics because of things I found on social media, book reviews, streams, something like that. And while look, like there is a growing right-wing movement in America, that's certainly true, despite the censorship. But nonetheless, we have to understand that that is in spite of things like this, in spite of the largest companies in the world attempting to use arbitrary power to check that. I mean, I think both of us can rattle off dozens of people who were kicked off the platform for basically no reason. Never broke any of the rules, never said something that all of us could look at and say, okay, well, you shouldn't have done that. And as you've said, YouTube is not a victim here because they still did this even before the Biden administration. They still did this when Trump was in power. They were happy to pull out something that said, oh, you've violated our terms and best practices. Goodbye. For, again, no reason given. And so to me, look, I hope Jim Jordan, I hope the other congressmen take a hammer to YouTube. I have no sympathy. Any punishment is not harsh enough as far as I'm concerned for this. But in all seriousness, we have to understand that they are presenting this in such a way as to foist responsibility on the Biden administration, an administration which certainly I have no love for, and certainly they did a lot of bad things. We have to understand YouTube did a whole bunch of this on their own well before Biden was even, on the political stage as a presidential candidate. So don't let them skate on this. Don't let them set the terms of what they've done, but also understand that this matters. And it's not just you and I complaining about our AdSense payments. It's that we've seen for the past 10 years, I mean, even going back to Obama, the incredible impact of social media on political discourse. And the right has punched massively above its weight on social media, despite overwhelming censorship. And so one has to wonder, where would we be if social media was a level playing field? Where would we be if people like you and I are and didn't have to, use euphemisms to talk around certain issues, to modulate what we say in public, because, the moderation team is, the worst combination of, Silicon Valley and New Delhi put together, right? This is clearly a threat to our democracy to use language that is regularly touted to punish people like you and I. And if we do, again, live in a democracy, how can this be allowed, right? How can power put their thumb on the scale? Well, we all know, right? We all know that's not how it works. But nonetheless, Google has admitted it. Let them pay the consequences of that, right? They have admitted they did something wrong. And so I don't know how much we've already seen with Alex Jones, right? When you make an enemy of people in power, you can be forced to pay truly outrageous sums of money. So why not? Let's let Google empty their pockets a little bit.
Yeah, again, I am unfortunately believe that Republicans will extract no real price out of these guys other than forcing them to allow people back on the platform. I've already seen some people like Dave Cullen, Computing Forever, who've been banned for 10 years for basically nothing. Like, really, we're in no way radical, no way controversial, outside of kind of just the banal, standards of 10 years ago, is finally back on the platform. So I'm glad for them. I'm glad that, he's returned. It'll be interesting to see if they put, guys like Nick Fuentes back on, if they're doing this, if they're trying to remove it, or if it'll be a very careful rollback of very specific creators. But ultimately, like I said, I think it has to be a class action lawsuit if you want to get anything out of these guys. There has to be legal action by creators who lost, in many cases, thousands, tens of thousands, of hundreds of thousands of dollars. Maybe over the course of several years, millions of dollars because of what YouTube had done, and so I think that's the only way they'll pay any kind of price. But again, the ultimate point of this, in kind of the context of all of our other stories today, is don't tell me what if the left comes back and censors us. What if the left uses power to silence our voices? We got to be careful. We can't set the precedent, because if we do, they might do all the stuff we know they did and can prove and just came out in additional congressional testings or hearings.